All right, joining me now, great pleasure, my friend Stephen Miller, White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, the most essential piece of legislation in the Western world. You know what? I actually agree with you. I know it's a little hyperbole. That's what happens to all of us. But I actually agree, because when this thing goes through, Steve Miller, the whole world may wind up following it. That's what often happens. I saw it with Reagan 40 years ago. The whole world may wind up following low taxes, less spending, fewer tariffs, and all the rest of it. Anyway, welcome back. Are you still optimistic?
Never been more optimistic. We've received the White House phone calls from so many House members and senators who are dying to vote for this bill. Let me tell your audience why. You mentioned that quote. Let me tell you why this is the most important piece of legislation in the Western world. Larry, we are at a moment of global competition. Who is going to dominate the future? What nation is going to set the standard for the globe over the next 100 years? Will it be America? Will it be the West? Or will we get supplanted and surpassed? This legislation is a recipe for national greatness so that we can win the global competition, so we can bring back our critical industries and supply chains, so we can achieve unprecedented levels of economic growth, so that we can have manufacturing and economic independence, 100% expensing for new investments in factories in this country, a permanent reduction in income tax rates across the board, massive incentives for the labor force in this country, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, protecting our seniors with no tax on Social Security, honoring that covenant. But that's not just that, Larry. This bill includes profound incentives and deregulatory measures to unleash American energy. We talk so much about our structural deficit. What about our structural energy deficit, Larry? We have trillions of untapped energy wealth in this country. We have 10 trillion in untapped coal wealth alone. We have to close the energy deficit by replacing foreign sources with American sources across the board and becoming the signature supplier for friends and allies and partners across the globe. And then finally, of course, Larry, this bill fully secures the border and removes the illegal aliens who do not belong here. Larry, how can the West win the future if we cannot control our borders and defend our sovereignty? So yes, this bill is a recipe for American greatness, and it's a recipe for 100 years of national dominance.
Yeah, I love that American greatness theme. I do. I think it's terrific. Well put. Steve, in your various memos and tweets, which we picked up, and they're very important, but they're good. I mean, listen, I know you started out many years ago as a staffer on the Senate Budget Committee. I remember that. So
yes,
we've had these conversations. So you're an economic ace. Okay, so if you oppose this bill, you're basically opposing the tax cuts. Or put another way, you're supporting massive $4 trillion tax hike. Because you're saying, correctly, you've said that extending the tax cuts should have no deficit impact whatsoever. I happen to agree with that. Now, is that case being fully made? I think the Senate has bought into it more than the House. But that's what it's got to be. The CBO's phony scoring, incorrect scoring, that this will cost $4 trillion is nonsense. It actually, you know what? It went up $2.5 trillion the last time we tried this over the 7-year period. So this is an important point. It has to be made. No deficit impact from the extending the tax cuts.
You're right, Larry. So I did spend 2 years of my life where my primary job was to explain the federal budget to the American people, which is why I've been so disheartened to see some on the right, I'm not going to get into names here, Larry, but some on the right who have been deliberately misrepresenting the bill because they're afraid of winning. They're afraid of success. In other words, there's this attitude amongst some conservatives where they don't ever want to get to yes. They don't ever want to pass a bill. That kind of attitude is lethal to enacting a winning conservative populist agenda to set our agenda for the country, to enact the reforms that we campaigned on. So let's talk about this. Extending and making permanent the 2017 tax rates does not and could not add to the deficit, because the job of the congressional budget keepers is to project what would happen under the normal course of business. And under the normal course of business, Larry, the tax that you're paying yesterday is the tax that you're going to be paying tomorrow. Just like the Congressional Budget Office doesn't assume that federal appropriations go to zero next year just because all the money runs out in September. They project what it would be under the normal course of business. But here's what else is in the bill. The largest welfare reform in American history, Larry. Adding work requirements to food stamps and Medicaid. That is the single biggest welfare reform. It dwarfs, by the way, as excellent as it was, it dwarfs the welfare reform in the 90s. We're talking about saving $1.6 trillion by getting Americans into the productive workforce, lifting them up out of poverty, out of dependency, into independence. So again, what's in this bill? Tax cuts and reforms, American energy independence, full, complete, permanent border security, and the largest welfare reform in American history. That's not pork. That's not waste. That's not new spending. That is the most conservative piece of legislation in my lifetime. Page after page after page of campaign promises put into law. Just like President Trump, with his executive order starting on day one, put his campaign speeches into action. This bill is the exact same thing, the codification of the agenda the American people voted for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well put, well put. I don't know if you've seen the Kudlow chart. You got to look at it. I get to, all the things you just said, I put those on top of a 3% growth dividend. I love the term growth dividend. Senator Thune has been using that term. Some others have using that term. Supply siders look at it as a dynamic growth impact. But if I put that on top of a 3%, we have it on the full screen again. You could get to, Steve, you could get to $8.5 trillion in deficit reduction on top of the 3% growth dividend, on top of the mandatory savings that you mentioned, and the tariff story, which the CBO surprisingly acknowledges.
Even CBO acknowledges $3 trillion in tariff revenue.
I mean,
and so, look, just to underscore this point on growth, it's so important, Larry, and I open with this. We're in a global race. We're in a global competition. Every factory, every manufacturing company, every new technology all around the world is just trying to figure out where are they going to site production? Where are they going to hire workers? Where are they going to invest? This bill is a recipe to vacuum up all of that opportunity, all of that economic growth, all of that new development, and put it into American cities and towns. If we don't pass this bill, we're not only going to lose out on trillions of dollars in new investment, we're going to have trillions of dollars in new job-killing taxes. I have never in my life, as a Republican, seen an easier question than whether or not to vote for this bill. It's everything conservatives have said they've always wanted.
Yes, absolutely. And in your tweets and memos also, I want to get you to make this point because it's so important. This is not an appropriations bill. This is not a general budget bill. This is a special reconciliation bill.
Yes.
You can't. It fences off. You're really only dealing with entitlements and taxes, basically.
Correct. There's this myth out there that we could do the Doge cuts in this bill. There's a separate process for that. Russ Vogt is leading it. It's called rescissions. And I know it's wonky to talk about reconciliation versus rescissions, but those are the Senate budget rules that we have to live by if we want to pass a bill with 50 votes and not 60. But what we do have, again, is the largest welfare reform in history, in dollar value, by attaching those work requirements to Medicaid and food stamps.
Sure, no, because it's a mandatory program, and therefore
it's mandatory, not discretionary.
I don't think Elon understood that. I don't want to get into all that stuff. I just don't think he ever really understood the difference between reconciliation. You're going to come back. Look, I've had a bunch of senators come on. You'll come many times to the well. You'll come take more rescission bites out of the apple over the course of the year. This is not the only one. I mean, he's got $180 billion up on his website. Okay, and God bless him for that. He has been helpful on that. It's a terrific thing. Democrats don't want to cut a nickel of spending. They never do. So we'll use it. You can have 10 rescission bills for all I care. You can have big appropriation bills. That comes later. This is the big thing. Before I lose you, my friend, thank you. You're picking up. This is very important in terms of border security. Now, people aren't coming over the border anymore, but the question is how to deport criminals, who are terrorists and are killing Americans and destroying our colleges and so forth. As I see it, you've got it up to over 2,000 per day deportations. Steve Miller, this is your bread and butter. You're an expert. Tell us just a little bit more about this and how far can we go?
So, look, under President Trump's leadership, we have dialed up ICE enforcement to record levels. We have dialed up DOJ criminal investigations and prosecutions of transnational gangs to record levels. And of course, the border is sealed shut. Illegal immigration has been shut down. But to remove the entire criminal element from this country, to find the millions of visa overstays from countries of concern, from countries that send terrorists to our nation, to ensure the complete eradication of criminal cartels, transnational gangs, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, we must pass this reconciliation bill. It gives us the extra 10,000 ICE officers we need to remove these threats from our country. It gives us the beds and the planes that we need to get them out of our country in an expeditious fashion. Thousands of lives, Larry. Thousands of lives will be saved. Ultimately, hundreds of thousands, because of the fentanyl threat, will be saved with the passage of this legislation. I promise you that.
Yeah, you vote against this bill, you're voting against all of that. It's another key point. Steve Miller, thank you, sir. I know you're a busy chap. Good luck.
Thank
God
you.
bless. All right.